What is up, YouTube? Matt with ASL Dumpsters. Today I've got a video about landfill costs. I'll break down my last month of October. Excuse me, let me do the right thing here as I pull out of the neighborhood. We'll go over the month of October's breakdown. I had 14 loads going into the landfill. So just to put that in perspective, I've got two dump trailers that I'm running right now. We just started this year, and I've got some more stuff being built that won't be ready till next year because obviously lead times are crazy. But check out today's video for landfill costs for the month of October, and I'll go through kind of an average and show you guys, talk a little bit about how the landfill comes up with those costs per ton. Stay tuned. It is November 4th, Thursday, and today's video is going to be a quick one about landfill costs for your dumpster rental business or your junk removal business. So the way I'll frame this is I'm going to go over my month of October statement from Waste Management, the landfill that I use 99% of the time. It is 5 minutes from my house. I've got a quick pass to get in. I have a excuse me, I have a credit account. So basically what they do is, whether I go to the attended scale or the unattended scale, I do not pay there. They add it to my bill, send me a bill once a month, which is great because they send me a statement every month and I can see how many loads I did, exactly how much cost per load. So we'll go over that here in a minute, and I'll go over my average cost per load to dump. And that's strictly talking dump fees. That's not talking fuel, time, maintenance costs, all that kind of stuff. So this is strictly landfill costs. And my reasoning for making this video was, to me, this was the hardest part to really lock down. I apologize for the background noise. My 1-year-old son is standing at the door yelling at the dogs, so bear with me here. But the reason for making this video is because I found it extremely difficult to find any concrete information on contractor pricing at landfills, especially big ones that are ran by big corporations like Waste Management. So what you need to do if you're thinking about starting this type of a business, whether it's junk removal, demo, or dumpster rentals like me, you need to contact the landfill management team, whoever that is, whether, sometimes if it's a smaller landfill, they'll just have kind of one landfill manager who kind of oversees the accounts, decides whether or not somebody's going to get special pricing depending on volume. Waste Management, in this case, has a team of people. I think they're based out of Texas. So anyway, I have a third-party account manager here who's been pretty helpful. The hardest part was just getting in contact with him. One person would transfer me to another person, and then that person didn't understand what I was asking for. So anyway, you got to kind of be your own advocate and be the squeaky wheel. So you need to get in contact with your landfill, get a hold of somebody like a third-party account manager, which basically will help you get an account set up. And what they will do is go over, you'll kind of send in your general company info. It's almost like, it's not like a credit app. I'm not going to say that, but it is. This is a credit account, at a landfill that you're getting. So if you choose to get billed every month and you want better pricing, you have to fill out an application. You have to estimate, if you're brand new, you kind of have to estimate how many loads per month you're going to be doing, how much tonnage you're bringing in, because to them, that's their business. So, and it's yours. So it's a good thing to figure out. So you'll fill out that application, work with your third-party account manager, and have them get you set up with your contractor pricing. So here's the biggest issue with moving from a public customer to a contracting customer at the landfill. There is a gigantic, huge disparity of difference between cost. So public customers in general pay by the volume, whereas contractors, roll-off companies, stuff like that, guys like me, pay per ton. For instance, before I had this account set up at Waste Management, I brought in a demoed deck in my trailer. It was my very first customer. Thank the Lord that it was a friend of mine. But what happened was they charged me by the yard, and my 15-yard dumpster was full. So she's like, okay, well, I'll be nice and charge you for 13 yards. That ended up being about $330. That was almost more than I was charging my friend for the rental. So that was not a good day for me. Being my first rental, being my first time in the business, taking a load to the landfill, it was not a good feeling because I didn't do enough research. I did not get a hold of the right person to help me out to get and understand the landfill costs and how I should be getting charged. My company should be paying per ton instead of, yardage or truckload or trailer load, whatever. So get a hold of your third-party account manager or somebody within the landfill management team that can help you get your contractor pricing set up. They will then have an established cost per ton, and you sign the contract, and basically, it's not like for me at least, it wasn't like this is good for this long. It was just kind of like, hey, this is your price, type of thing. So, and then you hit the scales. Every ticket that you get will tell you exactly how much you weigh, and tell you how much tonnage you're bringing in. So, I'll go through my numbers real quick. I had, in the month of October, I had 14 loads that I brought to Waste Management. I did not take any loads to any other landfills or transfer stations. The landfill here is so close to my house, and it is cheaper to use the landfill, but it has cost me money because I get more flat tires. The rear axle of my dump trailers gets hit like crazy. I've replaced at least 3 tires in the last 3 weeks. So it's been better this week, but, so I've taken all these loads, 14 loads to Waste Management landfill. And this landfill is here in Aurora. It's called Dad's Denver Arapahoe Disposal Site. Dad's landfill. Sorry, my son's talking to you. So 14 loads. I'll kind of go through some general costs. First load was 1.37 tons. That cost me $63.29. Second load was 0.77 tons. That cost me $45.69. So real quick, anything below a ton will cost you at minimum a ton. So build into your price structure of how much you're charging for your rentals. Build that in and know this before you start charging people, how much a ton costs. Because if you bring in 500 pounds, you bring in 1,000 pounds, doesn't matter. You're going to get charged for a ton. So basically my per ton cost is 45 minimum. So anything over 1 ton is a prorated cost, and that's why you'll see some $50, $60, $70, $80 costs here. So this is a good example. On the 11th, I brought in 1.1 tons in a load, and that cost me $50.90. So you kind of see how that 0.1 ton is prorated. So it's about 2,200 pounds there. Brought in 0.83 tons on the 13th, 2 days later, $46. Here's a good example. So on the 15th, I brought in a little bit heavier load. It was 2.25 tons. And that cost me $104.34. So, you know, the $45 per ton, that puts you at about 90. And then the 0.25, you know, it gets you up to 104. So they added about a little over $14 to that. And the way if you're curious about the way they come, sorry for the noise. If you're curious about the way they come up with this price per ton, so the C&D per ton, construction debris, that's kind of the general classification of what you're bringing in, whether it's, you know, drywall, wood, trash, boxes, clothing, stuff like that. The base cost for that is $34. So then on top of that, they add a fuel surcharge for the landfill to fill up all their, you know, fill up all the loaders, the dozers, everything that pushes trash around up there. So they add a fuel surcharge for landfill. They add an environmental fee of 10% for the landfill. I'm sure that's required by the state. Regulatory cost recovery. So the landfill themselves have costs to stay legal and operate and do things within regulations. So they recover some of that cost through you. And that's not very much. That's like, it's a percentage basis. So like this cost me $3.60 on that load. And then wastewater management, based on percentage for the landfill. So, you know, like stormwater management costs a lot of companies a lot of money. In this case, they call it wastewater management. And then, you know, any liquids that somebody's bringing in that has to be disposed of in a, you know, specific area or specific facility, charged for that. So that was $8.50. So you have your $34 for, you know, per ton. Then they add $7.92 for fuel surcharge, $10 for environmental fee. Regulatory cost recovery was $3.60, and wastewater management was $8.50. So when you put that up against the 2.25 tons I took in on that load, it came out to $104.34. And that's, you know, yeah, your cost, you know, for that load, I'm built in to have 2 tons. The cost of disposal I have built into my rental prices for 2 tons. And you know, in your rental agreements and your conversations with customers up front, you always say, hey, you know, this price includes drop off, haul away, and 2 tons of dump fees, or dump fees up to 2 tons of waste. You are welcome to go over that, you know, up to a limit, but you know, there will be overages. So you need to be very clear about that. So moving on down, you guys kind of get it. Here's the last one I brought in right the day before Halloween on the 30th. It was it was 0.38 tons. It was a real light load, and that cost me $46.46. So you see right there, they're going to charge you for a minimum of a ton. So my total dump fee costs for the month of October 2021 was $782.17. And that was for 14 loads. So that's basically a load every other day. You know, I'm not the busiest person. I have 2 dump trailers and it's just me working. So $782.17. You divide that by 14 loads, it's about $55 per load. So that makes me really happy because you know, my overages, what I charge if somebody goes over 2 tons, I do it on a prorated basis. If it's like a quarter of a ton, I'll prorate it. But if they get, you know, half a ton or over, I'm going to charge you the full overage cost. And I charge about $65 for every ton over 2 tons in this type of a trailer. So sorry for my son, he's mad at me right now. But that kind of gives you guys an overview of my costs last month for, here, I might as well just bring it in here. It gives you an idea of my costs last month for the month of October 2021. That way, you know, if you guys are thinking of doing the same thing, you guys kind of have some information of what you can expect. But I will say again, you need to get a hold of your third-party account manager at the landfill or the landfill manager himself, depending on, you know, who runs your site. Get an account set up. Make sure you lock down and agree on a tonnage price. and that the people at the scale or unattended scales understand, you know, have your account info. Because if you show up with a load that you got to get out quick and return that unit, and they don't have your account information, you're screwed. So, you know, make sure it's full circle, make sure everybody on their side has your information, has your account, so you can be charged correctly. Yeah, hopefully this helps you guys out. Let me know, like, subscribe if you guys enjoyed the comments or enjoyed the content. Give me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys are paying around the country. I really appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.